What's the worst thing you've had happen to your genitals?
Slid down a board I was using as a slide when I was around 4 or 5. There was a nail in it and tore open my scrotum, and my mom said the doctors used 5 or 6 stitches to close it.
I have a skin disease called lichen sclerosis which primarily affects the genital area. It makes the skin go all white, thin, and crinkly, and it tears and bruises really easily. It's quite painful and itchy as hell. When left untreated, the scar tissue can be permanently disfiguring. Before my doctor figured out what it was, I had to drop out of uni because it was causing me so much pain I couldn't sit down, and I spent all day every day for about 3 months with ice packs down my pants. Thankfully, it is easily treated with topical steroids, and now I'm fine.
Botched circumcision. This isn't something I've told many people in my life, but for the sake of the question I'll speak on this. I was born in Iran and grew up there till I was 8. In Iran it's mandatory for boys to be circumcised, but it's usually early after birth. I had my circumcision a little late, like when I was 5 or 6. My mom decided to take me to a local doctor instead of a public hospital, since hospitals in Iran usually had a dirty and grim environment, and my mom trusted our local doctor much more. On the day we went in, this guy was sort of visibly drunk. I was instructed to lay on this bed and of course didn't have my pants on. There was a TV above my head and I was watching it while he went on with the circumcision. There were anesthetics used, so I couldn't feel anything down there. I would peek down there at times and I saw the first incision happen, which caused blood to come out, but he assured me it was all okay. At some point everyone was in panic and rushing. The doctor hurriedly picked me up and took me to his car with my mom, everyone panicking and in a hurry. I didn't understand what was going on. I wasn't feeling anything down there and frankly I was a little bit out of it. I was rushed to the hospital and never understood what was happening. I spent 2 or 3 weeks in the hospital. So, what happened? The doctor made an error and cut off the entire tip of my penis. By some miracle, this amazing surgeon managed to surgically put it back, and by some more miracles the nerves started to reconnect, and my body accepted the reattached tip. It was painful, and it was a problem for a long time. What was the result? For about a few months I had no feeling on my tip, however it slowly but surely came back. The only issue was my urethra. It was displaced a little lower down the tip, and it wasn't growing at the same rate as my body, so my urethra would slowly close and my pee would be much narrower. What was the solution in Iran? Sounding. Yes, sounding is a medical thing, not just a sexual fetish. I had had doctors do it on me, even my mom was instructed to do it for me every now and then, which broke her. Also, please don't try sounding, it's beep painful. Basically it took a lot, but now I am here and it's perfectly working, no issues whatsoever. I even get normal erections and everything. Only deformity I have is a line aor in my tip you can sorta tell might not be natural, and my hole isn't where everyone else's hole is. Yeah, that really happened. Edit, this is obligatory on this website at this point, but thank you all for the support. I didn't expect to come back to Reddit sporting so much karma and love from you all. Whoever decided to gift me some gold, I appreciate it a lot, you really did not have to. I just want everyone to know that I am completely okay now. It has been many years since this incident and I rarely thought about it throughout my life to begin with. It was something I'd push away, but not with any intent. Eventually I realized I hadn't thought about this incident for longer and longer periods of time.
Drinking tea nude in bed. Spilled boiling water right on my penis. Second place, going to bed and cat snuggles on top of my chest. As she does, she digs her claws into my nipple. I scream, she leaps into the air and lands right on my balls.
Got my scrotum stuck in hair clippers that I was trying to shave my balls with. Luckily the cut wasn't too bad, but I learnt that day your ball bag bleeds profusely from the smalls of cuts. It looked like a murder scene.
I lived in Florida as a teen. On more than one occasion I'd be sitting in the grass, minding my own business, then suddenly my vulva would be burning from fire ants that crawled in my pants. Some things were never meant to be bitten.
Thought I had cancer, which turned out to be varicose veins.
2 things actually. Once I got 2 very powerful small magnets pinched on my foreskin. Hospital visit and scarring. Next I did anal without a condom and some fecal matter went down the hole and infected the cords in my balls. Epididymitis I think is what it's called. And that is what convinced me to never do raw anal again. Edit. You all have no clue how good it feels to know that the magnet story happened to other people. Thanks. Right facing fist, left facing fist.
A few years ago I was in a motorcycle accident. Somebody cut me off right in front of me and slammed on their brakes. Nowhere for me to go and I slammed into them at about 45 miles per hour. My crotch area hit the gas tank, then the triple clamp, and then ripped the windshield off my bike. It was a sport bike too, so the windshield was pointing back and my nuts hit the top edge of it. Even after all that, I still had enough momentum to go flying off the bike and land on my head. My nuts swelled to the size of a baseball, and my dong was solid purple from the bruising. Ultrasound showed internal bleeding in my testicle. I ended up with permanent nerve damage, so my right nut hurts literally all the time now.
I had a guy take a knife to my vagina last year when I tried to break off the relationship. Wounds got infected up near my cervix. It was awful.
My first baby tore me in a way that caused my pelvic organs, bladder, rectum, uterus, to prolapse. I dealt with it for 7 years until I was done having babies and had a 7-hour surgery to reconstruct the whole area.
I was playing softball once. I was the catcher for a round. Let's say that round the ball wasn't soft.
Had a urine catheter during a hospital stay and a doctor stepped in on the tubing. It pulled the balloon right down my penis. I was too weak to talk. Plus my vocal cords were beep. I was grabbing at nurses trying to get their attention. The piss was just not being collected by the catheter and collecting on the bed. I was cold wet and my cock was in beep agony, like knives slitting it from the inside. A nurse slipped on my piss as it spilled onto the floor. I wrote down what happened and she removed the catheter and asked if I wanted a new one in. Beep that it was one of the biggest reliefs of my life getting that beep cock splitting balloon out of me.
I was shaving my balls and I cut myself. So, nothing too terrible.
Had this little kid straight up deck me in the dick.
Testicular torsion.
Sat on one of those bamboo shower seats and got a nut caught between the slats. I had to call out to my wife for help, and she eventually did, between uncontrollable fits of laughter.
Oh man, here we go. I was an uncircumcised male. As an adult I developed phimosis. It's when your foreskin opening begins to shrink. Eventually I couldn't open it enough to clean it. This resulted in me visiting the urologist. The surgery would be a simple circumcision. I would be healed in a week and be good to go. Well, here is the thing. Men get erections when they are sleeping, usually 4 to 6 a night. When you just had surgery and have an open wound and ring of stitches around your member, this results in bad things happening. So for a week I would wake in the middle of the night bleeding from my junk and in a lot of pain. I would have to run to the freezer and get an ice pack, frozen peas or whatever, and apply it immediately to my bleeding Johnson. This immediate application of cold was the quickest way away to get the unwelcome boner to kick rocks. Then after a week things started to happen. When you're uncircumcised, the head of your Jimmy lives inside of its hoodie. All warm and nestled in there, is safe from the elements. When you surgically remove its diving helmet, that well-protected skin is now exposed to the harsh elements. And there can be reactions. So my reaction happened to be centrally located around the open to my urethra. It shrank a lot. So much that I began to have a hard time urinating. So me and my Wong pulled ourselves together and headed back to the doctor. The good news is the procedure will be outpatient, the urologist told me. The bad news is when we cut open your urethra slightly, we will need to have a way to keep it from growing back together. We are going to have to insert a catheter and have you keep it in until it heals. So they put me under a local anesthetic, shanked open my pee hole and shoved a tube from said pee hole into my bladder. Yes, I felt the pee hole shank down, but honestly when you're getting a catheter inserted, your urethra does a U-turn right around your taint. When they are shoving a tube in your dong and it hits that U-turn and head up into your bladder. That beep sucks, real bad. At this point the bloody and stitched ring around my dick from the circumcision is starting to heal. But the catheter is no fun. They gave me the one that has a little valve at the end, so I can pee normally. But let me tell you, there isn't anything normal about that. It's basically like my meat stick is a xenomorph and the little bite tongue thing has a valve at the end. Except your body isn't actually peeing when you open the valve. It's like suddenly the pee is going away and your body kind of freaks out. It's odd and uncomfortable. So fast forward a couple days. The bloody ring is looking better, the pee hole shank down is healing, and my xenomorph and I are doing okay-ish. I wake up in the morning and don't feel right. I have a fever, my stomach hurts, and when I let me pee out it is dark. I call the doctor and he has me come in so I can get tested for a bladder infection. I deposit my lemonade into the cup as instructed and leave it on the counter in the tray. It looks so weird. I am sitting in the small room when the doctor comes in and explains that they need to remove the catheter immediately. I have a bladder infection that is rapidly evolving into a kidney infection. They are going to give me a heavy dose of antibiotics and try to keep me out of the hospital. The catheter was removed, the antibiotics worked. That was definitely the worst thing that ever happened to my genitals. Edit. Spelling and removed the part where the urologist blamed the problem on me having too much rigorous sex.
Shrapnel took one nut, then cancer took my other. I am now a no-nut wonder. It looks super funny too, and I'm afraid of implants because the doc said my body might reject them.
I was sexually abused by a woman at the age of 12. She bit my penis so hard that it bled and left a scar on my gland. Still to this day, it causes me great issues and ruined a lot of things for me in life. I am sorry.
May your day be filled with joy and happiness. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more quality content every day.